This episode of What the Tech is brought to you by Harry's. Stop messing around and get started shaving with Harry's today by claiming your free trial offer. $13 value for free, just covered the shipping by going to harrys.com/whatthetech. And by FreshBooks. For a 30-day free trial, go to freshbooks.com/WTT and enter in What the Tech in the How Did You Hear About Us section.
What the Tech?
Hey everybody, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Andrew Zarin. Of course, I'm joined by the one, the only, Mr. Paul Thurrott in a very barren room.
Yep.
What's going on?
Yeah, I just choose my stark locations now.
Is you just picking the emptiest rooms ever? So what did you do? You moved your stuff around.
Well, I packed up most of the stuff. So a lot of it's in storage. Some of it's hiding in the closet back there for now. We're going to try to sell the house. So you have to kind of, we painted all the walls. We
looks great.
Did other work. Yeah, it's weird.
Looks really nice. Listen, if you don't sell the house, you got a brand new house. Yeah. You got the floors done.
That's true. Yeah.
Silver lining there. We do have a lot to talk about, obviously. We just did First Ring Daily. If you guys were watching live, you got a little treat. We did First Ring Daily live. Paul and I spoke about phablets, which I'll kind of touch on this show as well a little bit. We could go dive in a little bit if we have some time. I do want to talk about Skype, the new Skype that people are losing their minds over, Hulu Live that I've been using, Microsoft possibly looking to reboot mobile, and the new Intel Core X series. All this and more, obviously, we're going to talk about. But before we do, I want to talk about our sponsor, and that's Harry's. Father's Day is just around the corner, and dads are impossible to shop for. Listen, I'm a dad now. I'm a dad 2 times over. Paul's a dad 2 times over, too. But we did it backwards, right? You had your son first and then your daughter. I had my daughter first and now my son. It's difficult to find something special, especially that he'll use. You don't want to get some crap. I don't want to get garbage every year for Father's Day. Here's the great thing. Fortunately, our friends at Harry's have an unbelievable special offer that's your dad is going to love and you're going to love as well because I use their Harry's razors all the time. Get $5 off their razor shaving set, including the limited edition Father's Day set. If you go to harrys.com/whatthetech, this is the Father's Day set I have right here. And it's actually, look at this beautiful box it comes in. Feels like it should be $1 million, but it's not. Just $15. Not to mention $5 off when you go to harrys.com/whatthetech. You got the beautiful razor, the shaving gel, the cartridges. Everything comes in an unbelievable presentation. And your dad will love it. I give it to all my relatives. My father-in-law's got one. My grandfather-in-law. What would you call it? A grandfather-in-law, Paul?
I would not. No.
You would not. My wife's grandfather. Everybody, pretty much. Whenever I get a chance to give someone this, I give it to them, and they absolutely love it. It's high-quality razors, high-quality handles. It's unbelievable, and they have a great deal. The shaving set starts at just $15, not to mention $5 off when you go to harrys.com/whatthetech. I want to thank Harry's for supporting the show. This unbelievable. Also, it comes in this beautiful gift box, so that helps. Paul.
Andrew.
Where do we begin? Let's talk about this news on Thurrott.com. Brad posted an article saying Microsoft is looking to reboot mobile, and I immediately thought Surface Phone, but it is not, unfortunately.
Yeah, a lot of people think that. So this is I don't know how much I want to do on this because I've now heard from a couple of sources about some possibilities for what this is. And I don't think this is a direct follow-up to Windows 10 Mobile. In other words, this isn't some kind of a phone or a phone something hybrid. I think it's something else. So I had written an editorial basically saying, look, if Microsoft goes down this path again, they are just proving that they don't understand how the world is. Like, it would be such a horrible setback for them. But it appears maybe that isn't the case. So the problem with this stuff is we've got a lot of rumors. We've got a lot of people who have opinions about what it might be, but actually have no idea. Brad has sourced this information from 2 different sources at Microsoft, or Well, presumably at Microsoft, I should say.
And Brad is very good with his sources.
This is not
Joe Schmo. Yeah.
No, this is Brad. So this stuff's solid. But it's early yet too, right? And so Microsoft is working on something that is not a computer as we now know it, and is not a phone as we now know it, and we don't know what that means. So you can speculate to your heart's desire.
Yeah. So let's speculate a little bit, right? Let's have some fun with this. It's not a phone as we know it. It's not software as we know it. It's not a computer as we know it.
Yep.
What?
What could it be? A lot of people point to that courier concept.
I was going to say, is it something
Microsoft
like Courier?
Well, there's nothing to indicate that it is, to be honest. But people still hold that up, as we often do, as our dreams burn to oblivion, as this thing that could have happened, should have happened, and would have changed everything. But it wouldn't have changed anything.
It wouldn't have changed. You know what? I remember we did a show, you and I. That was probably one of the first times that we did a show, when the information on the Courier had come out. And it was very interesting. This is way before we know mobile computing as we know it today, right? The iPhone was out, but it was, it was still the grand poobah of mobile. Microsoft really didn't have a vision. Windows Mobile was not out yet. Windows Phone was not out yet. Windows Phone 7 wasn't out yet. I don't think it was.
This was before that. This is, it's hard for me off the top of my head to put the timeline in perspective, but here's something to remember. These guys were responsible for the Zune, and they were responsible for the Xbox 360, which was the most expensive consumer electronics repair in the history of God. So I hear, I understand, like, there are enthusiasts out there who get really excited about stuff, but this was a device without an underlying platform.
So this was it.
Yeah. Well, this is a drawing of it,
of what it could have been.
It doesn't, it was just an idea.
Yeah. So here it was more, so you had your applications on one side and you could drag and drop, and then you could write notes.
Sure.
And
sounds neat.
Sounds great.
It wasn't Windows. It wasn't supported by anything, it was just an idea. It was
the same thing that ran the KinOS. No.
It probably was, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, who can say? But it was a bozo idea is what it was. And it wasn't going to succeed at the time at which they envisioned it. Now, today, we have, that thing had each chunk of that thing was like this thick. We could have paper-thin displays in that thing. The notion of a two-display device is kind of interesting. Although, I feel like the real-world metaphor stuff has been overdone. Like the notion, we still call it desktop computing, because that screen you're looking at is supposed to somewhat resemble the desktop that you're physically sitting at, when in fact the Windows desktop or the Mac desktop in no way resembles the physical desktop that we're seeing. It never did. And the notion that a book interface makes any sense at all in a digital form is ludicrous. And
if I want a book, I want a book. Seriously. I mean, not to be like an old man here, but I have a little notebook that it's like this, and that's what I write all my quick notes on. And because I feel like I retain information better if I write it. Okay, for me, that's what I need. But why do I need to? Why do I need? You know what I mean? Like, most people don't do that anymore.
I look. All I'm saying is, this was a cool looking thing. There's no doubt about it. It was a neat kind of Isaac Asimov, Star Wars, whatever, bauble, but it wasn't real, folks, and it wasn't ever going to be successful. And we got to stop pinning our sad hopes on these kinds of things. So anyway, whatever this Microsoft thing is it something like the Courier? No, I don't believe so. I mean, that would just be weird. I mean, there's no call for such a thing.
I don't even
but then
know
that's the question, isn't it?
I don't even know what it could be if there's no call for a device like that.
What's the solution that Microsoft could bring to the table that A, is answering a problem, solving a problem, B, is something that Microsoft maybe not uniquely could do, but Microsoft is in a position to offer some unique value, right? And when you think about mobile devices, the only kind of vague area that makes sense to me is some kind of business solution, right? Something for a business worker, a knowledge worker, whatever we're calling them in 2017. And again, I hate to be, I know I'm Mr. Negativity, but I kind of look at the continuum-based Windows Phone stuff that you see with the HP Elite X3 or the Lumia 950 or whatever. And I just think, well, this thing had a surrounding ecosystem, has sort of still a surrounding ecosystem, and it didn't take off. It didn't meet the needs of businesses at all. So
now what? Yeah.
What? And I don't know. I mean, Microsoft is one of only a handful of companies that can create personal computing platforms. We're in an era where they're not the majority anymore, right? And that's difficult for people, including myself. If Apple came out with a 2-screen iPad that looked like the Courier,
people that
would be immediately interesting to a lot of people.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But Apple is also a company that doesn't bring a product like that to market unless they can make a difference doing so, right? They tend to ignore the problems where they don't add value.
Yeah.
And they tend to really go after the places where they can, make a big difference. I don't think that form factor makes any sense, personally, but
why not? Why not? Why? I mean, you could just use 2 iPads, right?
Well, what are the big arguments, Sanders? Like, well, what if you could eliminate a device? In other words, we have a phone, we have a tablet, we have a laptop or whatever. What if we could eliminate a device? Or what if one of those devices became a little more versatile? I could beam the display of my laptop to my HD TV using some wireless technology, and that would be cool for some reason. Yeah, I guess. But, in my experience, and I think if we're being honest with ourselves, most people would agree with this. A better solution is to use the right tool for the job. And the right tool for the job is never something else that was designed to do something else that has been retrofitted to do this additional thing.
Yeah, that's very well said. Yeah.
It never is. So, and here's like a great example, like Chromecast, the traditional Chromecast, the version that does video, right? Not the audio version, which I think makes tons of sense. Before Google Home, so we're not talking just voice control, but when the idea was you had to use your phone to control the video, the flaw there was always that the doorbell rings or the phone rings or someone, whatever it is, and some interruption occurs. There's a fire in the kitchen. And now you're like, oh my God, I got to turn off the TV. I got to pause the show, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You do the fumble thing.
You got to grab your phone. Yeah.
Because you're like, you got to turn it on. You got to sign it in. I'm not on the app. Where's the thing? Maybe I got to slide something down.
Yeah.
It's what works better is like a little Android TV device or an Apple TV device that has a remote, even if it's the crappiest.
Uh-oh. Paul, I lost your audio. While Paul is getting up and running and Suncast is getting Paul ready here, boys and girls, rather than stopping this entire show, why don't we take a moment and talk about our sponsor, and that's FreshBooks. Small business owners, it's time to be honest with how you feel about dealing with your day-to-day admin work. Listen, I invoice every day, and I have to tell you, it is tedious to do invoicing. To be sure as to who paid you and how they paid you and what you're going to do to get paid. It's actually way more complicated than you would imagine when people stop paying you. It's great when everybody's paying you. And this is actually a true story because I'm dealing with this right now. It's none of our current advertisers, but we had an advertiser a while ago and they got really bad with paying me. And the way that I was invoicing was with PayPal, and very good tool in order to, send money and get money, but not the best in order to ask for money. So I ended up kind of eating some money here, and I learned my lesson. I went back to FreshBooks, and it really changed everything for me. I used FreshBooks years ago, and I stopped using it for a while, and I went back a couple months ago, and it's been unbelievable. The truth is, over 10 million people felt exactly the same way until they discovered FreshBooks. FreshBooks is a dead simple cloud accounting software that works, and it's in the cloud. It's in the browser. No software needed. You could do it on your phone. You could do it on your Mac. You could do it on your PC. You could do invoicing, online payments, expenses, insights, reminders. It lets you know who's late in paying. So sometimes if someone is continuously late, you can make a note and say, hey, listen, this guy has to be reminded constantly. They have a great service, even if it's not small business, if it's, you're doing any kind of freelance work, which I know a lot of us here in our chat room do, and we got to do billing. They have a great service. Here's a great thing. You get a free 30-day trial by just going to freshbooks.com/WTT. That's freshbooks.com/WTT, and you enter in What the Tech in the How You Heard About Us section. I really love these guys, and I'm really glad that they're here, and I hope that they stay with us because I know that they are helping many, many, many people. Also, you could do deposits, online payments, and things like that, too. We'll get into some more of this. I'll do a little demo with the next time we're talking about them of the actual interface because it's unbelievably simple and very easy. Freshbooks.com/WTT. I want to thank FreshBooks for supporting the show. Paul, you're back.
I am back.
There we go. Look at that. Thank you, Suncast, for that. So people will be astonished to know that I'm using old. I mean, when I say old quad-core AMDs from 2008 and 2009 as our Skype machines. And I have to tell you, they are at the very end of their life. Very, very end of their life. One is dead. The other one is on the verge of dying. I'm left with one Dell from 2010 now as a Skype machine. So this is going to be a very expensive upgrade.
I just went to the dump yesterday or 2 days ago, I guess.
Did you throw any computers away?
5 years, whenever it was. I did. And this was the...
You could have driven it to me.
Well, no. I have old computers that are not worth trying to rehabilitate. They're just really old, like Core 2 Duo or older.
Any quad cores, Paul?
An incredible number of hard drives that probably date back, 15 years.
That's amazing. Have you gone through them to see what's on them?
No, I don't need to. I mean, there's nothing hidden on there that I don't have elsewhere. But what I wanted to do was make sure that no one else got them, obviously. And I looked into doing things like, you do the secure erase thing, which takes forever.
Why don't you just take a hammer and a chisel?
I looked into doing that too, like some kind of a power drill thing.
Yeah, drill some holes.
But they crush it at the dump. And the goofy thing is, this stuff has been in my house for years, and it's been building up and building up. And we have like a secure lockbox thing we have in the cellar. And when we do a home swap, I put all that stuff in there. But I also had like all these home servers, like HP home servers. I had at least, I want to say 7 home servers.
Oh, wow.
Most of them like 4 drive base, some of them with more, one of them only had 2, but whatever, of all types. And then various NAS devices. Anyway, this stuff has, it's funny. This stuff has been piling up, and then you get rid of it, and it's the most wonderful thing in the world. And you wonder, why did it was easier than I ever thought it would be. I don't understand.
It's gotten so simple. And this kind of goes into something totally different than we were talking about. And I guess no, it actually ties in with simplification, right? Is it necessary for Microsoft to come up with another mobile experience? Do we need another unique mobile experience? I had servers. I mean, I still do because of the network, but everything now is so cloud-based. I don't need to hoard uncompressed versions of What the Tech. You know what I mean?
Uncompressed.
Yeah, like we used to record everything uncompressed. So it was like a 25 gig file.
Like an AVI file or something?
No, we used to do just like the raw copy. I don't remember what the copy was, but we stopped doing that. And then we have like the long version that Suncast takes and edits. Mm-hmm. I don't know why we keep those unedited versions.
Like you're never going to go back ever and do anything with them.
Like, unless something amazing happened right before the show that I'm like, hey, you know what? Why don't you chop that up and add that here or whatever? But we don't need that. We don't need unedited versions. So I started dumping it all. So now I have we keep the original copies of everything that we've done. But it's redundantly backed up on archive.org. It's on YouTube. It's on another server. It's on Dailymotion. It's on all these different services. Is it necessary to hang on to every single episode? I mean, I have every episode of show that I've done since 2009 sitting here.
My storage requirements have gone way down, but local storage. I mean, I have a bunch of stuff up in the cloud, obviously, but I have data that goes back over, I'd say 22, 23 years, like work-related data.
I had everything. I had everything, and we had the great crash of 2004
Yep.
when
Yep. Sure.
I
That'll do
had
it.
I had two separate raid arrays go bad. Not only did the regular raid, but the redundancy went bad also.
Right.
So that was it for me. I lost everything.
I have, so I'm just looking at this now because it's kind of funny. Like, you go into my archives on what is now the NAS, and I have the Internet website, Internet Nexus website as it existed in the 1990s. I have Thurrott.com back when it was a personal website that I used to post pictures of my baby at the time in 1998. You know, I mean, it's goofy how much stuff I have.
That's amazing. That's actually, it is amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So let's get back to some of our notes. So Microsoft looking at Reboot Mobile. What if you were to take a wild guess? What are you going to say?
What I would say is that Microsoft offers a variety of services that would make sense on a mobile device where they could offer a hardware solution that made best use of those things. So for example, one of the problems with putting Skype or Cortana or anything else that Microsoft makes on an iPhone or an Android phone is that you have to convince people to install it. You know, they have to know it exists. They have to know that they want it. But if Microsoft could offer a solution for businesses that was essentially a dockable Skype communicator that aimed at businesses, right? That could make phone calls, right? One of the things I've been talking about recently is this notion of using a Google Home as kind of a home phone, and it would be like something you would talk to. You would dial the phone. It's like a speakerphone kind of situation. We tend to think of mobile phones as these things we hold up to our ears and everything, but there's no reason that any device couldn't operate as a speakerphone or a phone. This computer I'm using with Skype, I made a phone call with it today. I mean, that's, make a device that's optimized for this kind of stuff. But what I just said is very vague because no matter what direction I kind of head down, I don't understand what the point is regardless. Like, I just don't,
why? Yeah,
I just don't think this makes, Microsoft has gone down a lot of hardware dead ends that I think most people don't remember. And there are the famous ones, like Media Center and Zune and the Courier that never happened or whatever. But there are a lot of ones you don't remember. And some of them are less vague than others. They did a platform for smart displays. They did a platform for portable media centers. But they also did at least 3 phone platforms I can think of that were small business office phones.
Yeah,
not smartphones, but phone systems. Ready State's not the name of it. It doesn't matter. Response Point was one of them. They've been trying to do this combination of hardware and software for a long, long time. And every time they do it again, they act like they've just rediscovered it. Like, to make the best possible software, you have to make hardware too. And to make the best possible hardware, you got to make whatever. This is something that they've never actually done well.
Windows RT, great example.
Sure. I mean, it's just, I think anyone listening to the show who's a tech enthusiast, especially people who are kind of Microsoft focused, could probably come up with a half a dozen examples of dead ends. There were many more than you realize. And the Courier was going nowhere. Sorry. The Kin is another great example.
The Kin was actually a great idea, just 10 years too late.
Well, I don't know, 10 years, but it was, that one was destroyed by Verizon. There was an opportunity at that time to market a phone to tweens and to children that didn't offer the full smartphone experience, which could be dangerous, but did offer apps that they would want to use and text messaging and phone calling and all that stuff, obviously. One of the things that they were cool form factors. They were really cool little phones, great for kids. Really neat UI. And the thing that killed it was Verizon only offered it on their very expensive smartphone data package. And that's not something you hand to a kid. It doesn't matter if the phone's only $50 or $100 or whatever it was. If you're then spending $100 a month or whatever it was something like that.
Yeah.
On a children's internet account.
Yeah, it was
only
too
on a
expensive.
phone. Like, that's ridiculous. It was just bad timing, bad partner.
To kind of move on to something else, Intel released the Core X series.
That's what you need for your podcast machines.
No, for Twitch gaming. I need this for my Twitch gaming, Paul.
Well, actually, you know what you really need it for? It's kind of interesting because anyone who's a tech enthusiast would look at these processors and say, I'm going to build a gaming machine. I'm going to do this, that, whatever. I think the single best use is gamers who also want to broadcast their games and do it all from a single computer. Like, I think that this is what that's going to enable is that kind of efficiency. It's kind of a neat idea.
No, it is kind of a neat idea, actually. Up to 18 cores on some of these, which does with 36 threads. Price ranges from $1,000 to $2,000. This is their 8th generation.
I bet Microsoft Edge will still run like crap on these computers.
Oh man, Coffee Lake is the name.
No. Those are two different things. Actually, I believe these extreme processors, what are they calling them? In Core X or something?
Core X, yeah. Core
I
X
think
series. Yeah, it's a separate
they'll
thing.
probably release versions for every generation of their core processors, but I think the ones they just announced, I think they're coming before Coffee Lake.
Yeah, let's see, extreme processor lineup called Core X series is coming 8th generation Coffee Lake core chipset.
You're reading that somewhere else. Okay,
I'm reading it off Thurrott.com.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
I wrote Coffee Lake generation?
Yeah, Coffee Lake. Let's see.
Intel
has unleashed a flurry of announcements tied to Computex in Taipei. Yeah. Key among them is a new extreme processor lineup called the Core X series. A Core. Okay,
those are two different things.
There you go. Okay, never mind. That's what happens when you read fast.
Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miswrite that. Yeah.
So this is very fast.
Yeah.
They did not get smaller in size. It's still a 14 nanometer, right?
Yeah, and by the way, the next gen Coffee Lake chips are also going to be 14 nanometer. Although
that says something.
Yeah.
That says something that they are having a real difficult time getting the 10 nanometer or 12 nanometer.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
It's a hard computer science problem to solve, Andrew.
So, but they did get a tremendous amount of performance out of this thing. 30% in performance gains.
I think this is so smart for Intel, by the way, because this is where the PC market is going, right? We've already seen that PC makers have latched onto premium PCs, including gaming PCs, which are very expensive because that's still a growth submarket within the PC market. And it's a great place to make money. Why wouldn't Intel do the same thing? The other thing is, this is the differentiator between Intel and their coming competitor, Qualcomm, because that company is going to be, and their partners are going to be offering ARM-based PCs running Windows 10 that will compete at the low end, especially in the portable market, right? And so Intel is going to be ceding market share to those guys. There's nothing they can do about it. They've lost the mobile market everywhere. That's going to happen to them with mobile PCs as well. But what's left? It's that thing that the PC still is, that it still uniquely offers, which is a workstation or a gaming PC or any other kind of high-end, whatever it is, CAD/CAM, engineering, video processing, whatever it is you might be doing. This is something that an Intel x86 architecture PC with incredible specs is still going to have the advantage, right? It's the only game in town. It's really smart for them to focus on this.
Yeah, it's tremendously fast. It's amazing that it's saying that up to 30% faster and it's 18 cores. So, there's only so much faster you could go right now.
Right.
The Intel will not be moving until later next year at the earliest to a 10 nanometer chipset. I would
right?
not want to. I would
It's
not want to get that
post-copyright.
first generation 10 nanometer.
I know. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that is. I'm staying far away from that, and I would definitely recommend it. How is it with energy usage?
Oh, it's probably like a Volkswagen Dieselander. I think
Yeah.
when you turn it on, the trees around your house actually start dying. You know, like I
Yeah.
it's not going to be good.
No.
But that's the thing. That's not the point. This is really, in a way, what the Xeon basically is, right? It's sort of like Xeon. In fact, the X in that name might be an indication that that's what that really is, but just scaled a little higher.
Yeah. Very interesting. I'm hopeful to see how this does in real world testing. This chipset might be my next major production machine. Looks unbelievable. So new Skype. Why is everybody losing their minds?
So this one's actually kind of funny to me.
Do you have
because,
it? Do you have
yeah,
it? You do.
Yeah, I have it
on what?
On the iPhone. You should be able to get it today on Android. I haven't looked yet.
I don't have it on my iPhone.
No, you don't. No, it's not available publicly on iPhone. But you should be able to get it on Android. And let me see if it's. I haven't gotten an update, but I don't know if it's only a beta or I got to look this up. But anyway, what they've done basically is a couple of years ago, Microsoft realized that they needed to re-architect Skype because it was created a long time ago, and it was created for like a P2P kind of situation. It was always going to be two people connecting directly. They would do some kind of a tunneling thing, and it was really efficient for that kind of use. But of course, over the years, what's happened is that messaging has occurred, and it's you need a central service instead of that P2P connection. And so they have been working to overhaul the service, which is something they've been working on for a couple of years. Last year, they kind of announced how they were doing it. They talked about new clients versus old clients and how they were going to have to drop some legacy clients because some of the old stuff would never be able to make this transition. And a lot of the reliability issue stuff that we've seen on Skype and the thing where, you've answered the call on one device, but your other devices are still ringing was part of that transition to this new underlying platform.
Okay.
But that transition's done. And so that's only 50% of the story, right? The other 50% are these modern new clients, and they can take advantage of the functionality they built into the underlying network. But maybe more importantly, what they have to do too is compete with the Snapchats and WeChats and Slacks even of the world. I mean, there's a whole new world that's occurring. FaceTime, Hangouts, whatever. Skype is one of the early innovators in messaging, really. They offer text messaging or instant messaging. They offer video chat, audio chat, group chats, video and audio with multiple people. There's a new bot platform that they, I think, first introduced actually last year, but they're expanding that stuff out. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on. And so this new Skype client, which is appearing first on Android, and then we'll go to iOS, we'll go to Windows 10, we'll go to the Mac, is an attempt to embrace some of this new stuff that people expect from their messaging platform, essentially, right? Whatever that might be. So it's more colorful, it's more animated, it's more engaging. But the thing that really, there are two things I should say. You asked about you said everyone's losing their shit. The two things I'll say about this that just off the top of my head are, most of the people who do what I do, people like Brad, Mary Jo Foley, or Dr. Pizza, Peter Bright, hate this client, hate it. And they are scared to death that Microsoft is going to bring this look and feel to Windows, and they're going to ruin the desktop client.
Oh, they are going to ruin the desktop client.
Yeah, I think they have a point.
Yeah.
But the thing that's interesting is I actually don't hate it. And I think it's colorful and attractive. I think the iconic, I can never say this word. Iconic? I think the graphics and the typography.
Iconicism. No, that's not a word.
Iconographic. It doesn't matter. I think it's an attractive looking thing. I think it's got nice bold typography. I like the colors. There's a lot of animated baloney that I'm not into, right? I'm not going to send animated, graphics or draw on top of videos or blah, blah, whatever it is. But the second part of this is the thing where they really kind of got me, the thing that they said to me when we talked about this before the release that really resonated with me was this notion that social networks are broken. If you think about things like Facebook or Twitter, especially, these things are festering hellholes of different types. You know, a place like Facebook is essentially a place where people go to brag about their lives or complain about Donald Trump or
Sure.
take pictures of unexceptional food or whatever it is. And Microsoft has a term for this kind of thing. It doesn't really matter what the term is, but you know what I'm talking.
Yeah.
You know what Facebook's all about. And the way to think of it is Facebook has become a stage where people can just stand up with a trumpet and kind of brag about what they're doing. I find myself increasingly disappointed by this. And it's hard because for me, I've made Facebook the place where I go to find out about the people I actually do know in real life, the people I really care about, people like you and your wife and your children, or my brother and his kids, or my distant cousin who lives out in California, or friends of mine from Microsoft or all around the world, whatever it is. And Facebook is still important to me because I want to know how all these people are doing. I care about them, and I like checking in from time to time. But I find the focus of it has really shifted, and it's become very noisy to me. And one of the things that I've been doing recently is experimenting with Instagram. So I've been using Instagram to post photos, which is something I care about, instead of posting them to Facebook. And sometimes I'll post them to Facebook too, but I go to Instagram first. And I found that maybe because it's not as far evolved, but the community on Instagram I find to be more pleasant, and the interactions to be more positive, even though the people who follow me on Instagram are by and large people I don't know.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah. So with the new Skype, what Microsoft is offering is an alternative to social networks where you still want to connect with the people you care about, but instead of standing up on a stage and bragging about what you're doing, you're engaging in either one-on-one or group conversations that can occur over time about important things. And then you can integrate some of the technology that Microsoft has that's unique to their platforms that kind of puts it over the top. So for example, maybe I'm coming to New York and you and I want to go to like a concert or something. You know, we on Skype could discuss this. We could have a discussion with a bot who could show us ticket prices, show us where the tickets were, pick out the seats, and we could conduct the entire transaction in a single place, rather than both of us maybe being on our own phones and sending stuff back and forth on text messages or whatever, however we might do it.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of an interesting kind of alternative to what a traditional social network is. And I really like that aspect of it. I think that stuff is really cool.
I mean, it seems like everybody's going this way with Messenger. You know, with messaging and even I thought, you know, when they added all this, you know, stuff in iMessage, where, you know, where you write party and it's like confetti or congratulations, confetti flies down. I thought that was the dumbest thing, but it's actually not bad. It's pretty cool. You see it, you know, it's impressive. That this is where they're headed. And they added emojis and they added the animation and the GIFs. This is where everybody's going. This is just the future of messaging. Maybe now Skype Business will be what we need to use if we just want a standard messenger.
You know, we'll see. I mean, one of the challenges facing Microsoft is that other messaging platforms have become very successful very quickly. Facebook was able to leverage the success of their traditional social network to make Facebook Messenger a huge success story with over 1 billion users. Google has struggled. Apple has kind of two messaging platforms in a way, right? They have FaceTime, which is very Apple specific. And then they have the iMessage stuff that they built on top of messages like traditional SMS and MMS messages that are a little more powerful if you're only communicating with other Apple guys. And then, of course, Snapchat and Slack and many others. You know, there are many messaging platforms. Microsoft doesn't really have anything it can leverage here, you know, other than the Skype brand, which I still think is pretty solid. But it's in kind of a tough spot. And I haven't looked at the numbers recently, but There are many messaging platforms that have several hundred million users or more. And I want to say that Skype is still locked in the 300 million-ish range.
Interesting, yeah.
And I don't think that number has gone up in a while. And they can reach a certain number of people just by being integrated into the Microsoft stack. And so Skype is part of Windows 10, which is a great idea. It's built into Office 365, which is a great idea. It's available on the web via all of their web properties. It's, they've integrated it where they can, and that makes tons of sense. But this particular push for this new Skype client is an attempt to come out with something that's kind of fresh and new and is both attractive and functional and looks and acts a lot like these other messaging platforms. And again, provides that maybe deeper integration with some of the back-end AI, machine learning bot type stuff that Microsoft is kind of uniquely positioned to deliver. But, the question is going to be whether anyone uses it,
I'm curious.
So we'll see.
I'm part
I
of
like
this,
it.
I'm part of the
I like it.
Skype Mac beta program. What are they?
Yeah.
The Insider? What do they call it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have not got an email from them in a while. That's interesting. Maybe I'm kicked
Well,
out.
this should be coming soon. So the new Skype client was, I guess it was privately tested with a very small group, and I only got access to it on iOS, and that was less than a week ago. It was actually just probably 4 or 5 days ago, and then publicly today it's coming out on Android, but eventually, over the course of this year, you'll see it pop up on iOS, of course, and then on Windows 10. And I think it's going to be included in the Windows 10 Fall Creators Update. So it's probably
I can
something.
tell you that on the Mac, this does not exist as far a beta as a beta yet.
Right, but it will. It's
program,
not. No,
yeah.
it's not there.
Insider
Right, that's
program.
right, but it will.
Yeah.
It's coming to the Mac this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you will get it. You will get it.
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. Once I use it, I'll let you know.
So one thing, actually, this is goofy, but the Skype ringtone, the Skype ring sound has triggered kind of a Manchurian Candidate effect in me, because remember, for many, many months, you would call me, or anyone would call me, and then it would ring on all these devices around my office, and it was like this cacophony of sounds, and it was so awful. And the funny thing is, on this new client, they finally updated that sound. I wonder if I could play it somehow. I guess I can't. So it's the same song, but it's like they've played it on more modern instruments, so it sounds better. Is there a way for you to call me?
Yeah, hold on, let's see.
So I could make, maybe, I don't know how loud.
Let's see. Hold on.
It's kind of very, it's nice. Can you hear that at all?
Yeah, I can't wait till the hip hop remix of it.
Yeah, it's got a little.
Can't wait till it's in the background of a rap song.
It's like everything else, I think, in the client. It's just a little fresher looking.
Yeah. It's not terrible looking. I mean, I get that people are upset over it. I do think that Skype has a underlining problem as far as performance goes with video and inconsistencies with audio, and they were going to go to Opus, and they were going to go to this whole new format, and they kind of abandoned that, or they've taken a break from it. This was, 2-3 years in the making. I had spoken to them, and they said it was coming out, the new way that it handles video and audio. So they haven't really done anything with it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of talk with Skype, but again, I do think I know they had a massive undertaking to fix the underlying issues with the platform, right? And so that's kind of happened. And once the Skype ecosystem is just these new clients, which I think is starting to happen, we can judge it again, I guess, and we'll see. But they've been a lot more responsive lately than they had been in the past. I've complained a lot about, for example, the Skype for web notification situation, where they just added this feature, but they didn't give you the ability to turn it off, which was kind of a crazy thing to do. Not only did they fix that, but they actually came back later and made it even better, which I wasn't even complaining about it anymore. And they kind of proactively reached out to me and said, hey, by the way, we thought maybe you'd like to know we've made this improvement to it again. And that's nice. And that shows me that, other people were complaining too. But that they're being responsive to that stuff. So I'm curious. I think you're going to like it. I really do. I was surprised that Brad didn't like it. Like the fact that Mary Jo and Peter didn't like it maybe didn't surprise me. I'm surprised by how much I like it. And I should say, when I say I like it, I guess what I really mean is I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But I like the look of it. Like the fonts are really nice. They're bold, nicely done. The little graphical bits that are around the interface are really nice. And there's kind of a motion or like an animation quality to it. In fact, like as you know, I'm supposed to be having my work call right now. So I might have to get going soon.
Yeah, sorry.
But I just want to make sure. Yeah, this is probably okay to show. If you can, if there's any way to, you can even see it now, probably not.
No, of course it dulls out everything else except for the screen.
Yeah, okay. So Skype, but what it does is it's kind of an animated squiggly line appears under stuff. So if you were typing something to me, like on other messaging platforms, I could see that was happening. And there are a lot more interaction points before for adding things like, I want to send you my location, and then you can come find me kind of stuff. Or I want to send you, again, we could do like live video chat. We could be drawing on the screen and sending each other messages and all that kind of stupid stuff. But I don't really care about that stuff. But it doesn't impact me. So the fact that this offers like stickers and the ability to write and draw and whatever, it's fine. It doesn't impact me. It's fine.
It's interesting. Before you go, quick comment on something. I started using Hulu Live.
Yeah.
And I know people are asking, somebody asked us for our opinion, and I had just started using it literally that day. So I'm actually in the process of reviewing it. And I have to tell you, I'm not very pleased with Hulu right now. They have made the UI and this is going to be the universal UI going across every platform soon. The UI on the Apple TV, the new Apple TV, is so convoluted. It looks pretty, but it's very, have you used it yet?
The Hulu or Apple TV?
Hulu.
No, not used Hulu yet.
Okay, so the Hulu UI on the new Apple TV is terrible. They messed it up, and you don't know what's live and what's not live. Everything is kind of mixed in together. And the live service is very limited on what devices you could get. It's only available right now, and I'll tell you right now, I think it's on iOS, Android, Xbox, and Apple TV. No Roku, no Fire TV, no desktop. So I mean
that will change, obviously.
Yeah, it's still a beta. The quality overall, it's fine. There's nothing that really stands out more than the other companies. I think at this point,
Have you tried YouTube TV yet?
I have. Yeah, I have it.
So when I move, assuming I'm okay, when I move, I can actually get that in Pennsylvania, and I'm considering trying that.
Yeah, YouTube TV I have, and the problem that I have with it is lack of support on devices.
On devices? Really?
It does not work. It only works on a certain amount of devices. I think it's Chromecast and it's like a couple other things.
Okay. I mean, the way I think of this is as like a TV replacement for starters, but then plus, in other words, so if my daughter could be up in her room watching the TV show she wanted to watch, but on a tablet, and that was better for her, I would be okay with that.
So the cool thing about
that kind of thing.
YouTube TV is that you could do 1080p.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Right.
And now, I don't know if it's true 1080p. I don't know what it's doing to do 1080p. Is it doing just a bigger display? Or because you can't get 1080p over network. Like right now, Ellen is on NBC. You can't get this in 1080p. You know what I mean?
I don't want to see that in stunning clarity anyway.
I do not want to see. No, I don't either. But let's see what else.
With that.
Actually, let me go to sports. How about that? I'm on YouTube TV right now before we end this.
Yeah. Sports are tough.
It was not like this didn't work on.
So how do you can actually tell the quality level?
It's just like how it's regular YouTube. So you could actually click on what you want. Like, you know how you go to YouTube and you could click on the level? Like 1080p, 720p. It's just
I see. Oh, really? Thing. So you can see the exact that's great.
Same thing. Right now, this only works on. It works AirPlay to Apple TV, Chromecast. That's it.
Oh,
that is it. Supported devices. YouTube TV is available on your computer or mobile device. You can watch it on the big screen using Chromecast devices, TV with Chromecast built in, like Android TV, and AirPlay with Apple TV.
Wow.
We're working on expanding the platform to be on other devices, like Roku.
Sure.
They do not say Fire TV or Apple TV. So let's see. If I could go to any kind of... I want to see sports on here, because this may be a little bit of a game changer, YouTube TV. If it does, you know...
Yeah, no, I think right. I think the possibility is there. I definitely want to check it out.
Everything is a commercial every time. Oh, so some channels do not do 1080. Quick note, it only does 720. Like ESPN is only doing 720.
Right.
720 at what? I gotta play around with this.
Yeah, 720, right.
Yeah, I haven't spent... You know what? I should do this for next week. I should do more homework on this. On YouTube TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm watching women's softball right now, and it looks really good, actually. 720p, but it's probably at 60 frames a second, which is exactly what you need. That's all I want. Very cool. All right, Paul, that is it for this week. I know you have a meeting to go to, so
yeah, sorry.
That's
explained to them I'm going to be late.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. Guys, go to our website, gfknetwork.com. You can check us out next week. We'll be back next week. I will have more of an in-depth review of YouTube TV. See you all next time. Take care.